In this video, I'll be talking about everything you need to know about offerings, goddess, devotional acts, and more. So let's get right into it. Offerings, similarly to prayers, can really be anything you want it to be. While there are historical examples of what people offered as well as different offerings that different deities are said to prefer, you really can offer anything to anyone. One person in my Discord server, HT Online, link in the description, proudly stated that they offer rocks to deities if they don't have anything else. It just goes to show that you can offer anything and everything. But you may be thinking to yourself, why even offer things in the first place? Well, they're more important than you might think. You see, Hellenism, to put it simply, has three pillars that stand as the foundation for the religion: katharmos, oikos, and kadis. We'll talk about the first two in different videos, but for now let's focus on kadis. What the heck is that? Well, in short, kadis is used to describe your relationship with the divine. Think of it like this. When someone says they work with a deity, that means they actively build kadis with that deity. How do they do that? Well, they pray, they worship, and most importantly, they give offerings to that deity. After they have done these things, kadis will begin to develop. Once kadis has at least begun to develop, then you can begin to ask for aid or guidance, and no sooner. At the same time, you shouldn't attempt to force kadis onto a deity. This is what I call the nice guy effect. Everyone knows this classic stereotypical nice guy who's only nice to someone, typically a woman, in hopes of getting something out of them. The nice guy is only nice so that they can claim they're nice as a reasoning or a form of persuasion to get into their pants. The thing about nice guys, as well as the nice guy effect, is that whether you're being a nice guy to a woman or to a deity, it literally never works in the history of ever and never will. If you offer to a deity with the intent of scratching that off the list of requirements to ask for things, or with the sole intent of getting something in return, you will more likely than not just be ignored. But if you offer to a god because you like them and genuinely wish to further your connection with them, this is what builds kadis, that true, genuine bond between mortal and divine. Now that you have established kadis on your end, the deity has a higher chance of establishing kadis on their end by responding to your prayers and aiding you in times of need. Now I say a higher chance because, as established earlier, deities are not obligated to respond to you or to bridge the gap to establish kadis. This is why it's best practice to give the gift of offering just to give that gift without thinking you're going to get something back for it. But now that we've covered the what and the why for offerings, let's talk about the types of offerings there are. Burned offerings are probably the most common type of offering in the ancient world. It's because it was easy to just throw some food or something into the fire after they used it to cook the food. Hearths and all that, you know. Nowadays, you may find it harder to do so because we don't cook with hearths or fires, we use stoves and ovens. Unless you're confident and experienced in your fire containment skills, I would suggest not even attempting burnt offerings until you look into how to contain and put out fires effectively. It's not hard though, so I'll explain what to do after you have lit a contained fire in a safe area. In most cases, you will say your prayer, then burn the offering. If you're looking for a quick, inconspicuous act, say you're at a family bonfire, they don't know you're pagan, you could just throw the food in and utter the phrase to the gods or to whoever you are offering it to. However, if you are put in a situation where you don't have to be secretive about it, then you should only say the prayer under your breath if you're offering to a chthonic deity. See my video on formal prayers for the explanation. Now, I've been assuming this offering is food, but it can literally be anything with the exceptions of things that don't burn. So, to my lovely Discord member who offers rocks, they would not be able to burn it as an offering. Something like a painting or a drawing of Aphrodite could be burned as an offering, or just for example. Number one thing to remember is safety. Don't burn indoors because smoke will kill you before fire does. And triple check to make sure that the fire is out before you walk away from it. Oh, and things like candles, scented or not, as well as incense also count as burned offerings. The second type of offering we'll be talking about is buried offerings. This can once again be anything that you let the deity know is for them with a prayer and then bury underground. I myself have done burial offerings, not for a deity, but for my deceased friend. I gave him a necklace by burying it near the tree his ashes were buried at. This is a great example because two reasons. One is the fact that you don't have to be offering something to a deity. A nymph, mythical creature, hero, or other deceased person will have you follow the exact same steps from prayer to offering. And two, this is where you should bury it. Now, you can bury offerings anywhere, but if you can, having a specific sacred space to bury it at is very helpful. For my friend, the sacred space was his tree. For a naiad or a Nalic god, it would be a river, and so on. Traditionally, Aaronic gods got burnt offerings, and Chthonic gods got buried offerings. You don't have to follow that, but this is just how it originally was in most cases. Tossed offerings are the easiest type in my opinion. You pray, and then toss the offering somewhere that will not get you fined for littering. Generally, you don't want to do it on private property like someone else's house or somewhere where it can't biodegrade like in the middle of a concrete sidewalk. These types of offerings were reserved for deities whose domain consisted of bodies of water or nature. While you can offer anything, I'm sure your deity would much appreciate it if you didn't offer anything plastic or made of another material that can't be eaten up by the elements. So this is mainly going to be a food thing. For naiads and analic deities, instead of burying the offering near the body of water, you'd throw it right in. Maybe fish will get it, maybe it'll dissolve given enough time, but by then the deity will be done with the offering. Same thing with offering to Gaia or Pan, for example. You would toss the food in a bush or grass near a tree or wherever animals, ants, elements would eat it up. Again, I want to stress the law sadly matters more than your practice, so if you see a sign or you know it's private property, then avoid just tossing offerings around. If you're unsure, just don't. The gods will understand. Or get permission. That's also another thing. I had to get permission to bury my offering to my friend because his tree was planted at my old high school. So that's an option too. And also just don't be dumb and attract a bear or something if you're offering at a place that has bears. There's nothing wrong with the bear eating it. It's just you don't want to be around when it does. Moving on, libations are any type of liquid offering. Most people, when they hear that, think of wine, but that wasn't actually the most common libation. Wine is expensive, and a lot of you are minors and cannot get wine legally, so let's just stay away from that for now. A popular substitute to wine is grape juice, but more common libations include olive oil, honey, and literally just plain old water. Now, I will say for the 100th time, these are just common examples, and libations can be anything. Well, any liquid, otherwise it wouldn't be libation. I take that back. The only libation that would not be appreciated is any form of bodily fluids, because of this little cute thing called miasma, which I will go in depth about in a future video. Just know the gods will call you dirty and ignore you if you try to give them blood or something. Other than that, you can pour soda for all I care. They'll just appreciate being shared with. Oh, and another thing about miasma, if you're offering to a deceased or chthonic deity of any type, of anything like similar to that, you should cleanse afterwards because you just came in contact with the dead, and that is miasmic. Death is miasmic. But yeah, future video, and that I'm totally not procrastinating because there's a million misconceptions and a mountain of variables that go into what is miasmic and what Catharmos really means in the ancient world. But yeah, moving on. The last form of offering we'll be talking about is a devotional act. Devotional acts are my personal favorite type of offering because it's so easy. You basically are just offering yourself to a deity by embodying their values, doing what they like that type of stuff. It can be complex or it can be simple. I'm sure everyone here likes things to be simple, so we'll make it very simple. Aphrodite is the goddess of beauty, so I will put on makeup as a devotional act. That is something I was already going to do, but I do it in the name of my goddess as a way of showing her that I understand her and want to make her happy. Once again, goddess and all that. It's so simple. Do you like to read? Read in the name of Athena. Do you have a garden? Take care of your plants in the name of Demeter. It doesn't get much better than this. It's like an infinite goddess glitch. There's not even much to say about it. That's how easy it is. So easy that I will now be wrapping up this video. But before you click off, I have to let you to join my Discord!